You've probably stared into a fish tank and wondered, is that thing dead? It's just floating there, eyes wide open, not blinking, not moving, and you stood there for a full 10 seconds trying to figure out if it was alive. Do fish ever sleep? Do they even need to? Why don't they close their eyes? Can you wake one up? Are they ever actually off? And why does a goldfish look exactly the same at 2 p.m. as it does at 2 a.m.? Here's the thing. The answer isn't just fish don't have eyelids. It's that fish invented sleep before sleep had a name. And we've been too distracted by the open eyes to notice. Let's start with what sleep actually is. Not what it looks like, what it is. Sleep is the body pressing pause. Brain activity drops, cells repair, memories get organized and stored. Your whole system slows down to recharge. Most of us picture sleep as closed eyes lying flat, basically switched off. But that's a mammal's definition. A human's definition, and fish are not mammals. So what does sleep look like without eyelids, a bed, or a heartbeat you can track from across the room? It looks like nothing. That's the whole point. Fish don't have eyelids because they don't need them. Water keeps their eyes moist automatically. The ocean solved the dry eye problem hundreds of millions of years before any eye drop company existed. But because fish can't close their eyes, we assumed for a long time that they weren't sleeping at all. We looked for the wrong signal. That was our mistake, not theirs. This is the part everyone misses. The common belief is simple. Open eyes equal an active brain. If it's not blinking, it must be watching. If it's not lying down, it must be awake. But scientists decided to actually test this instead of just assuming. They took zebrafish, small, fast-breeding fish about the length of a paperclip. They used in labs all over the world and kept them awake on purpose. Bright lights, constant disruption, no rest allowed, and the fish got sluggish. Their reaction time slowed down noticeably. Their memory got worse. They started making bad decisions in simple tests they'd handled fine before. And when they were finally allowed to rest, they crashed hard, sleeping longer and deeper than normal to make up for lost time. Classic sleep debt in a fish. The exact same thing that happens to you after a brutal week of bad sleep happened to a creature smaller than your finger. But if sleep isn't about closing your eyes or lying flat, what is it actually about? It's a brain state, not a body position. In resting fish, brainwave activity measurably drops. You can see it on the equipment scientists use to track electrical signals in the brain. Response to outside sounds and movement gets much slower. The body burns less energy. The fish either drifts in one place with almost no movement or tucks into a corner and stays there. Think of it like a phone going into low power mode. The screen is technically still on, but it's barely processing anything, running quiet, saving up energy for the next day. Same device, different mode. And here's a detail that should feel weirdly familiar. Some fish have a sleep spot. The same corner, the same rock, the same patch of gravel, the same time every night like clockwork. A routine. They're creatures of habit, just like you setting your alarm and walking to the same side of the same bed every single night without thinking about it. Now, do they dream? One theory says maybe. Zebrafish in some studies showed strange, irregular bursts of brain activity during rest that look a little like what we'd call dream sleep in humans, the kind where your brain gets busy and your eyes flicker under your eyelids. But this is not settled science yet. Researchers are still working it out. For centuries. But here's where it gets crazy. Fish aren't even the most extreme example in the water. Compare a regular fish to a shark. Most fish can stop swimming completely and rest on the seafloor or hover still in the water. Many shark species literally cannot do that. They need to keep moving forward to push water through their gills and breathe. Stop swimming, stop breathing. It's that simple and that brutal. So some sharks rest only half their brain at a time. One side goes quiet, while the other side stays alert enough to keep the body moving in slow circles. The shark is never fully off, never fully resting. Fish are. So the ocean holds both types, creatures that sleep deeply and creatures literally running on half a brain, swimming in the same water, sometimes in the same reef. Dolphins pull the same half-brain trick. One eye closes, one eye stays open, and they swap sides throughout the night so both halves eventually get rest. So here's the flip that stops people cold. The animal with both eyes wide open, the fish, is actually sleeping more deeply and more completely than the dolphin with one eye shut. The animal that looks more awake is more fully asleep. That's not an accident. That's biology doing something clever. Now, here's the part that goes back much further than most people expect. About 450 million years ago, the first animals with backbones on this planet were fish. Not humans, not birds, not any kind of land animal. Fish and sleep, as a real measurable biological process, was already running in them. There were no eyelids, no blankets, no dark bedrooms, no white noise machines, no blackout curtains. Sleep had to work without any of those things. Because none of those things had been invented yet. Not by nature, not by anyone. This was the Devonian period, a stretch of time so long ago that most of the land on Earth was still bare rock, and the ocean was where all complex life lived and competed and died. Fish had to figure out how to rest while staying in open water with predators nearby, with no way to cover their eyes and no safe cave to hide in on land. Sleep became invisible by necessity, because looking vulnerable in the open ocean is a fast way to become something else's meal. Hundreds of millions of years later, land animals evolved from fish ancestors. They grew eyelids, useful for keeping eyes moist and clean in dry air where there's no water doing that job automatically. They found caves, trees, burrows, and eventually beds. They added pillows, darkness, alarm clocks, and melatonin gummies in orange flavor. But the core of sleep, the brain state mechanism, the repair cycle, the memory processing, that didn't come from any of those things. That came from fish. Same original system, completely different packaging. Your sleep tonight, with all its comfort, is a heavily upgraded version of what a small fish was already doing in a shallow reef before the first tree ever grew on this planet. And once you know that, you start seeing fish sleep everywhere. Your home aquarium, if your fish goes still near the bottom or behind a plant at night, it wraps itself in a bubble of its own slime every night. A mucus sleeping bag it builds from scratch to hide its scent from predators while it rests. A snot cocoon, built on purpose, every single night. Shark documentaries showing a great white constantly patrolling the deep. Part of that nighttime movement is survival mode half sleep, not pure hunting. Coral reef footage filmed at night looks completely different from daytime footage because dozens of fish are tucked into crevices, under ledges, and inside coral gaps, resting. Early morning fishing works partly because fish are groggier right after waking, slower to react to danger, easier to fool with bait. You're essentially catching them mid-coffee. Your sushi dinner, that fish lived in open water and was very possibly caught during or just after its rest cycle, which is a strange thing to picture. Sleep research labs around the world actively use zebrafish as a model for studying human sleep problems, including insomnia, because their sleep biology lines up closely enough with ours to produce useful results. Meaning right now, in a lab somewhere, a fish is helping scientists figure out why you can't fall asleep on Sunday nights. Sleep medications get tested on zebrafish before they're ever tried on humans. New fish owners get told, keep the tank on a regular light cycle, dim the lights at night, keep the temperature stable, keep the environment consistent. That's fish sleep hygiene. Your doctor gives you almost identical advice. Same basic principle, applied across hundreds of millions of years of evolution. Or even the idea of having your spot to unwind. Fish do that instinctively. Your couch corner, your side of the bed, the one chair in the house that's actually yours. See, that's the same instinct a goldfish acts on when it drifts back to the same patch of gravel at the same time every night without being trained to do it. Now, one honest thing to cover. Not every still fish is a sleeping fish. Sick fish often hover near the surface because they've lost the ability to control their position in the water properly. Fish in water with low oxygen do the same. A fish that suddenly stops moving, floats at a strange angle, or changes its normal behavior might be in real trouble. The hard part is that healthy sleep in fish looks very similar to early illness from the outside. Both look like stillness, like nothing happening. The same invisibility that makes fish sleep fascinating is exactly what makes it easy for fish owners to miss warning signs until it's too late. The fix isn't complicated. Learn your fish's normal pattern over time. Healthy sleep is consistent. Same spot, same timing, same posture night after night. Illness shows up as a sudden change. A break in the pattern is the signal, not the stillness itself. Fish evolved to make their rest look like nothing because looking vulnerable gets you eaten. That's not a flaw in how they're built. That's the whole strategy. Fish sleep with their eyes open because they never needed eyelids, and because looking asleep in the ocean is dangerous. The open eye isn't a glitch. It's 450 million years of smart, invisible design. Every pillow, blackout curtain, and sleep app on your phone is just a late, complicated attempt to catch up.